Let's bring in Al Jazeera's Toda Sadi, who joins us live from Tehran, at the main airport there in the Iranian capital. Tohid, so is state infrastructure now, like airports, for instance, starting to come back online? Does that indicate a degree of optimism about where this ceasefire might be going?
Yes, indeed. But frankly speaking, it's a mixture of different sentiments composed of both pessimism and optimism as we're dealing with a fragile ceasefire at the time being. And people are following to see whether it's going to be translated into a long-lasting peace or another round of confrontation. Here we are at Imam Khomeini International Airport, Tehran's most important international airport, which is responsible for foreign flights. And as we were talking to the authorities at the airport, they're saying that starting from Saturday, after 56-7 days of suspension of the flights and the clearance of the airspace of the country, now we see a sort of gradual resumption of the international flights. You can, if Hamid can show us, see the boarding information, the flight information there. There are departure flights to different destinations, including Medina, Muscat, and Shanghai and Yerevan. These are the destinations, and according to the statement by the officials of the airport, at least 7 domestic companies or the airlines are actually working on the operationalization of international flights. And then there you can see actually the checking in passengers are trying to get their tickets, and this is among very first days we are witnessing the resumption of the international flights. We were talking to several people and some families who were trying to get to their families overseas, some business people trying to continue their businesses. So right now, there is a level of normalcy at this point. It's still, as I told you, this sentiment of frustration and the sense of exposure as the situation is very fragile remains out there. We know that among the airports, when it comes to the other airport in the capital, Mehrabad, which is actually operating mostly for domestic flights, we saw continued attacks. In addition to that, in 5-6 other airports across the country, attacks happened. Several airplanes, civilian airplanes, were also damaged. And we're talking about a sanctioned economy and the impact of those sanctions on the transportation system of the country was also out there. So regardless of all these damages, right now we see a sort of resumption of the flights, which is a promising point.
Yeah, a tentative return to a degree of normality by the looks of it, Tohid. So this from Donald Trump. Iran is in a state of collapse. They want us to, quote, open the Hormuz Strait. What's the view from Tehran on these latest comments?
Well, actually, we see a mixture of positive and negative signaling. First and foremost, we know that Iranians are sort of used to this kind of threatening and hostile rhetoric by the U.S. president, while it doesn't mean that they are not taking it seriously, because previously they saw the translation of some of the threatening language into real act of war, while they're saying that the door for diplomacy is neither open nor closed, rather ajar, and they are ready to negotiate not under imposed conditions and dictated terms. There is also another parallel rhetoric that we hear from Tehran, and that is the military readiness. They are saying that they are ready for any sort of scenario, including another round of confrontation. All in all, I can say the entirety of the situation is characterized by 3 factors. A, ambiguity. I can say the most certain thing at this point is uncertainty, as we feel it when we talk to people and as we feel it when we hear from the official statements. B, the breakability. We are right now seeing a ceasefire. How long it's going to be extended, and whether or not the extent to which it is going to be translated into a long-lasting peace is also another big question. And C, the complexity of the situation. You know, compared to the previous times when Washington and Tehran were engaged in the trajectory of diplomatic engagement, we knew that the entirety of the topics were limited to the nuclear dossier on the one hand and the removal of the sanctions on the other. Right now, we're dealing with a much intricate network of different issues related to each other, including the war reparations, security assurances, sanction relief, frozen assets, Strait of Hormuz, the US blockade, and the list goes on and on, as there are many sticking points. Whether or not diplomacy is going to be given sufficient chance to resolve them all is something that we have to keep waiting.
Towhid, many thanks as always. Al Jazeera's Toda Sadi there at Tehran's main airport.